Well, if anybody knows that theme music, you're old enough to know it. It's from Benny Hill back in the day, Channel 9. WOR used to play this British um, comedy show, variety show, and whenever there was bedlam and no order and whatnot, they played that song, and people just be running around and without any type of direction or whatnot. And that was tonight's theme of tonight's Monday Night Football game between the Chargers and the Jets. So let's get right to it. Good Monday night, New York Jet fans and NFL fans. It is November 6th, 2023, 11:58 p.m. We're almost on Tuesday. We're still Monday night. I'm watching the lowlights, if you will, of the game from tonight. And this was off kilter on all aspects, even from me and my family's point of view. Usually we get to the game with 3 hours prior, 4 hours prior. We're in the lot. We're one of the first cars parked there where we park. Tonight was a little different, between work and personal arrangements that I had during the day. My older daughter working till 7. We basically were like, all right, come home from work, get dressed, we go. Picked up food they ate in the car on the way in, and that's what we did. We wound up getting to the game, I should say, right outside the exit at kickoff. Chargers went 3 and out. Jets went 3 and out. Jets punt, and the Chargers running back for a touchdown. So right off the bat, it's not even the offense that scored against the Jet defense. It's the special teams that gave up the punt return. That's something that we really haven't seen this year on this team. So right there. Next thing you know, Garrett Wilson makes a catch. Boom, he fumbles, and he gives the ball back. This is all before we actually got into the lot. It took me longer to find a spot than it did to actually get from the turnpike to the game. But anyway, so we found a spot, close to the exit, which actually played out well in the end. We got in, and as we're walking down the stairs, first of all, we heard that there was a roughing the passer penalty against the Chargers. You would have thought the Jets just scored 25 points the way the cheers went up. Finally, for the first time in almost 2 years, or over 2 years, they got one. But that was the theme of the game. Zach Wilson was sacked 8 times tonight. He must have been hit 14 times. He completed 33 of 49 for 263 yards. He lost 2 fumbles. The 8 sacks actually tie the most times he's been sacked in a game in his career. The offensive line is in shambles. It's a turnstile. It's Swiss cheese. It's like trying to use a strainer to bail out the ocean. Whatever cliche you want to use, offensive line sucked tonight. Okay. Before you knew it, Jets were down 14-0. And then they started moving the ball a little bit. Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Conklin, the usual suspects. And then just like usual suspects, there was false start, there was a hold, illegal formation 2 or 3 times. Just not a good rhythm. The offense was abysmal. They have scored 8 touchdowns in 8 games. I have seen games where one team has scored 8 touchdowns in a game. They've scored 8 touchdowns in 8 games. This is not going to cut it. And they've been saying this, and they were getting away with it. They got away with it last week when Breece Hall had the only touchdown. They got away with it the week before when Breece Hall had the only touchdown against the Eagles, when they played the Eagles. This team needs to score touchdowns. This offense was abysmal. Zach Wilson, when he throws the ball, can fire it on a rope. Okay, he still has to get some of his timing down and some of his aim down, but he could fire with the best of them. But by God, his pocket presence and the knowledge on the field, to me, is just not there, and I don't get it. I can't for the life of me believe what I saw tonight. And I've seen a lot of Jet football, and I've seen a lot of bad football overall. But this offensive line is the worst I've seen it in years. And I know you can't go back to Brick and Mangold and whatnot, and back in the day with Mawai and Fabini and whoever else was on that offensive line. It's so different. But when you lose two centers in one game, when you lose, your offensive lineman to injury, there's really not much you can do to protect your quarterback. But that's football. Injuries are a part of the game, and other teams strategize behind it. They knew, you're going to try to beat us with the run. We're going to stack the box, and if we don't stack the box, then you know what? When you try to throw it, we're going to get at you. They were rushing 4 and still getting to Zach without blitzing. That can't happen. You can't rush 4 and get to him. I mean, they must have knocked him down at least between 12 and 14 times. They sacked him 8 times. That offensive line is terrible. And I'm going to stay with that now because I know everybody's saying Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers. First of all, the man walked into the stadium today without crutches, without a limp. He was throwing the ball. He was taking some 3-step drops. I know he probably wasn't pushing off his plant foot like he would if he was in the game. But do you really want Aaron Rodgers behind this line? I mean, let's go back to almost exactly a month ago tonight, okay? Or 2 months ago tonight. September 11th, we're in November 7th, Monday Night Football. 4 plays in, Dwayne Brown got beat up like a bully trying to steal his milk money. And Aaron Rodgers, running for his life, gets his foot caught and blows out his Achilles. Okay, do you really want to be behind this line? I don't care who's behind this line. This line is not good right now. And having Zach Wilson, who's a subpar quarterback at this point, and you don't know where he's going to go, is not good either. Okay, and I'm looking at the time, and I know we got to the game late, but it's still tomorrow's a school day. Tomorrow's a work day for a lot of us. It's a late day. It's a 45-minute ride home without traffic. And I turned to my daughters with about 8 minutes left to go in the game, and I said, if they start picking up first downs, we got to get moving. And she's like, okay. And we did, and we timed it perfectly. I mean, we were on the turnpike, and the Jets were down. I think it was at that point 20-6. Okay, so that's the score we left. They wound up losing 27-6, but they wound up. Zach Wilson wound up fumbling the ball. It was picked up. It was returned to the 2-yard line. The Chargers scored, made it 27-6, and even Marty Lyons on the radio, as I'm telling this to my daughters in the car on the turnpike, exit. I guess we're on exit 15 or 14 at this point. That's how far in we were. Is why do you put out Zach Wilson again? Why would you run him out there? He's your only quarterback right now. Why are you going to put out Breece Hall? And finally, they took out, Garrett Wilson got dinged up on a play, okay? But then finally, they put in, they left Conklin in, they put in Michael Carter, and I would have put in Devin Cook or Dalvin Cook, whatever the hell his name is. I would have put in Reggie Cobb. Where is Reggie Cobb? Where the hell is Reggie Cobb? And Lazard, you make more penalties and drops, and last week still, you are a veteran. You make that catch on a beautiful throw by Zach, and you try to score a touchdown when you know you're out of time. Where is your awareness? And I'm going to blame the coaches, but I'm also going to blame the veteran. You got to know where you are on this field. This is not your first game. And even Zach Wilson, you're 3 years into the system, okay? You're in field goal range. You kick a field goal, you still are controlling this game. 3rd and 6. After they go down the field, okay, on passes and this and that, and he takes a sack on 3rd down, and now they're out of field goal range. By all means, get rid of the damn ball. And then you can even try a 50-yarder with Greg DeLeg. No, this would have been a 62-yarder. Like, I just don't understand what these players are thinking on the field. A lot of them don't know presence of the field. This Charger offense didn't control the game. They picked up first downs when they needed to. They made some plays when they needed to, but they got a short field on a fumble. They got a punt return for a touchdown. They got a really short field on another fumble, and they kicked a field goal or 2 field goals. I don't get it. What you know, they're 4-4. I had them at 5-4 at this point. I had them winning tonight. I didn't think the Chargers were that good. Our defense played well enough to win. Okay, we take away that one play by the special teams. Our special teams played well enough to win. Our offense didn't play well enough to even be in the damn stadium with them, and that's what's killing me. Okay, we put up some points, and we're in all these games. Okay, I'm watching Garrett Wilson. He's being interviewed now. 7 receptions, 80 yards, fumble. Okay, you had an exchange between I don't know if it was Brees Hall or Michael Carter or Cook on 3rd and short. First of all, it looked like it was a run pass option because it was supposed to be a toss to the left. Zach kind of hesitated. Then when he tossed it, it didn't get to the running back, and he fumbled the ball. He jumped on it. They got it back. But they had a punt at that point. I mean, it was just a slop fest. And you know what? I'm going to say it right now. The Patriot game. Well, I just want to stop that. They're interviewing Brees Hall right now, and very annoyed. He had 16 carries, 50 yards, and they asked him about the offense, and he says, "We need to grow up." And they said, "What do you mean by that?" And he basically said, "You got to grow up. You got to make the plays. You got to mature, and you got to give Zach more help." So I don't know who he's talking about. If it's the offense as a whole, himself, the offensive line, Zach. But you can see he does not want to be bothered with these questions. This is going to be something we may hear about later on, this week. But you know, the team is not helping themselves, and they're in a position now of the season where the Chargers are a beatable team. Okay, Chargers are a beatable team. The Raiders are a beatable team. The Bills, the week after we showed we could beat them. Okay, but your defense can only do so much. Your defense can only keep you in so many games. Your offense sometimes has to rise up to the occasion. Offense has to rise up. And you know what? I know this offense has been built for Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers has not played on this team for 2 damn months. Okay, and yes, I'm frustrated because of the product that was put out there. I'm not frustrated that we lost. Okay, it would have been nice to win. It would have been nice to go, 5-3, 2 games above 500, a division win. Going into Vegas next week. Now, next week is a must win. Next week's a must win. You got to get to 5-4 next week. Okay, on a team that basically ran their coach out of town because they didn't want him anymore. Okay, on a team that doesn't have their starting quarterback, and on a team that has Antonio Pierce with no head coaching skills, or I should say experience, not skills whatsoever, that took over on a Sunday night game in Las Vegas. You don't think the Raiders are biting at the chop, biting at the bit right now? Or chomping at the bit, whatever you want to call it? I mean, Jesus. I'm not saying tonight was a must win, but show me the effort. Show me you can play with the big boys. Show me what you did against the Kansas City Chiefs. Show me what you did against the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, and even the Eagles game was an anomaly because they only scored one damn touchdown, and that was on a freeway play where the Eagles got out of their way. Okay, Saleh is living and dying with the defense, and right tonight he died because there was too many times that the defense had to go out there and try to bail them out. They couldn't bail them out every single time. Okay, and again, the defense gave up 2 touchdowns on short fields. Okay, it's not like they went 93 yards or 87 yards. They went short fields. One touchdown was 2 yards. Okay, and then the special teams. Other than that, the defense was on the mark. Okay, they need to get to the quarterback a little bit better. There were times when the quarterback slipped away, picked up extra yards, but this offense is the reason why this team is not 6-2 or 5-3 at least. That's the reason. Okay, and I don't know what they're going to do. They have a short week. They got a Sunday night game. It's already Tuesday. Tuesday right now. What are they going to do? What is Hackett and Sally going to do about this offensive line? Okay, what are they going to do? I mean, there was one point. My daughter says he just stood there. I mean, the rush just came at Zach. There was one part where the I don't know if it was a lineman or a linebacker came in. The offensive lineman for the Jets was blocking him, and the guy actually reached over the offensive lineman and sacked the quarterback. It's like not even fair then. If you can't block your man and you get on and he gets off the block and he beats you, that's one thing. You're actually blocking him and he's beating you and he's getting the sack. There was another time Zach pulled out. I don't know if it was supposed to be a bootleg, but he actually turned to his right, and there was a defender standing right in front of him. And Zach looked like, "Oh God, what are you doing here?" And then he kind of rolled out to the right, and then threw a off-balance pass to Conklin. That if he throws it to the inside more, it hits Conklin in the chest. But he threw it to the outside to the sidelines, and Conklin couldn't hold it in. This offense is so broken, and Aaron Rodgers is not going to fix it because Aaron Rodgers is not going to be able to run. Just think about it. Aaron Rodgers have to make plays and extend plays. How do you do that when you don't have, you're not fully healed? Justin Aber, 16 of 30, 136 yards passing. He did nothing tonight. You know what he did? He didn't turn the ball over. Okay? Austin Eckler, or Eckler, whatever the frig his name is, 2 touchdowns on 47 rushing yards. I don't know what they're going to do. It's not all Zach, but it's on Zach as well. Pocket presence. Don't take sacks when you can't take sacks. There are times where you have to take the sack or you have to get rid of the ball. Don't try to make a play. I'll take that. He actually did that early in this game. Threw it down to the feet. Okay, good. He threw it towards, got to pass the line of scrimmage, threw it towards somebody, didn't take the sack. But then on 3rd down and 6, or 3rd down or whatever, and you're in field goal range, you're almost guaranteed the 3 points. To take a sack and lose 7 or 8 yards is just not fundamentally smart football. And that goes from coaching, and that goes to the quarterback. So, they actually had Darrelle Revis during halftime tonight. They gave him his Hall of Fame ring. It was nice to see him. But other than that, the night game, Monday Night Football, the whole nation, the whole league saw us tonight. And they saw, what our weaknesses are. And our weaknesses are our offensive line and our quarterback. Offensive line can't protect your quarterback. Your quarterback is not at the stage of his career, or may not ever be at a stage of his career, to ad-lib or whatnot and make plays out of nothing. Once in a while he could. Last week he did it a couple of times. But the actual plays that they draw up, and come on, they ran one play where they faked the reverse to Gibson, and it threw the defense off. So you know what? Next play, do the reverse to Gibson. They have to be more creative in getting the ball out of Zach's hands quick and keeping the defense on their toes. Go no huddle. Go hurry up. I don't know. Tonight was just, an aggravating loss. The Patriot loss and tonight's loss are the 2 most aggravating losses. I won't even say the loss to Kansas City because, you know what, that game we were, so far off underdogs and whatnot, but we came back and, some costly calls or whatever you want, But tonight should have been the game we won. You want to be a playoff team. There's talk of not even a wild card. They may be able to take the AFCs. You got to beat this team. Because you know what? Hello? The Dolphins are better than the Chargers. Okay? The Jet defense tonight gave up 107 passing yards, 84 rushing yards. They hit the quarterback 13 times. They're talking now, it was about a minute left in the 3rd quarter. It was still a game by this point. It was still 14-6. And Herbert got sacked, lost the ball, and Michael Clemens, instead of jumping on the ball and giving the Jets the ball in the red zone, trying to pick it up, couldn't get a handle on it, and Herbert from the ground just scooped it up and kept it. So those are things that define winning teams and losing teams. And you know what? There are times where you could um, you could get away with things, and there are times where you're not going to be able to get away with these things. More times than not, you're not going to be able to get away with them. Last week they got away with it. Um, the Bronco game they got away with it, but you have to make the plays when they're called upon. And I think there's going to be a little bit of a kick in the ass. You could see Brees Hall is upset. You can see Garrett Wilson is upset. Quentin Williams is upset. Let's see what Zach comes out with. And I'm in my head, and I know, but nobody listens to me really. And I know, I only got a few followers, and I'll share this because I'd like people to follow me. But I'm putting this game on notice coming up. Zach Wilson, Hackett, and Saleh need to come up with a game plan to beat the Raiders. If you can't beat the Raiders, then you can't talk about playoffs. Okay? And again, I don't want to hear about Aaron Rodgers. I want Aaron Rodgers to be behind a line that he doesn't have to run for his life. If it has to wait till next year, it has to wait till next year. Because let's be honest, 8 weeks ago, we figured we weren't going to see him this year anyway. So that's my rant. It was a 20-minute rant, but that's my rant. I had my theme music from Benny Hill because that's the way it felt tonight. But anyway, we ought to take off. By all means, try to reach out to us. You can reach out to us a few times, a few ways, I should say. Twitter, at the Jets Takeoff. Email at thejetstakeoff@gmail.com. YouTube, you can subscribe to the YouTube account, which is the Takeoff. At the Jets Takeoff is a YouTube channel. You can meet us. You can follow us on TikTok at the Jets Takeoff and on Instagram at the Jets Takeoff. So you get the theme there. Were you there tonight? Did you leave early? Did you get there late? Did you stay to the end? Honestly, in all honesty, if I would have stayed to the end, I'd probably just be getting on the turnpike now. So I have no regrets leaving early, especially that they lost. You could just see they were not flowing, that they were going to make the comeback like they did against Philly. So anyway, have a great rest of your week. Have a safe week. Have a healthy week. Have a blessed week. Tomorrow's election day. In case I don't do a video before Friday, thank you to all the veterans, and enjoy your Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. It is much appreciated now more than ever.